I'm always intrigued when I hear of a fantasy novel that combines guns and magic, so when I discovered that was an aspect of Brian McClellan's Powder Mage trilogy, I obviously had to give it a try. The first book, Promise of Blood, did not disappoint. Promise of Blood begins after Field Marshal Tamis conducts a successful French Revolution-type coup, continues into his efforts to consolidate the new council's control, and expands into threats of invasion and the return of godlike beings. There is a lot going on in this book, and while that is one of its strengths, it's also one of its weaknesses. The story's introduction leads you to believe you'll be reading about Tamis struggling to set up a new government while the overthrown king's supporters plot to re-establish the monarchy. With privileged and powder mages, the world's magic users, thrown into the mix, the volatile situation could explode and turn deadly very quickly. But then the coup's aftermath is resolved and the neighboring Kez launch an invasion attack, beginning the overarching conflict of the trilogy. And behind the scenes of all of this, godlike privileged hatch a plot to summon their leader from what seems to be another dimension. And of course, he wants to destroy humanity. I told you there was a lot going on. But Brian McClellan skillfully weaves these plot lines into a cohesive narrative, and none of them appear out of the blue. Inspector Adamat's investigations greatly contribute to tying everything together. Fueled by a rapid pace and plenty of action, the numerous twists and turns will keep you page-turning well past your bedtime. You never know what will happen next, and you desperately need to see how the story ends. However, the combination of fast pacing and narrative shifts also makes the book feel unfocused at times. Events are connected and progress naturally, but the transitions from one to another are sometimes straight cuts instead of the needed segues. Intervening and minor events with effective setups are resolved very quickly, making them feel like throwaway plot points, even though they are not. The character Mahali is an exaggerated example of the fluid yet somewhat disjointed plot lines. The tone of his character does not fit with the tone of the book, but it's very obvious he is more than he appears to be, and when the reveal happens, it's the only way it could have happened. If you are familiar at all with Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere, you'll know immediately who this character is inspired by, but I don't think it works as well here. The protagonists root out spies, exchange bullets and magic with their enemies, and face down godlike privileged, but through it all, they value their comrades, friends, and families, and continually put others before themselves. The military protagonists know their decisions may result in civilian casualties, the deaths of their comrades, or any number of other horrible things, but they recognize that not making those decisions could result in the same or worse. They choose to bear the weight of that responsibility so others don't have to. This is embodied in Field Marshal Tamis. He respects and values those under his command, but he keeps himself at a gruff distance because he knows he might someday have to send them to die. If he could win a war by himself, he would. Tamis and his son, Taniel, have the cliché father-son issues that are heavily present in entertainment, but underneath their inability to communicate is deep respect and love. Taniel and Capoel, despite being from different countries, take turns protecting each other, and Taniel and Bo are lifelong friends, even though Taniel is a powder mage and Bo is a privileged, which would normally make them natural enemies. When Inspector Adamat's family is used to blackmail him into spying on Tamis, he is torn between his love for his family and not wanting to betray the field marshal. He doesn't just shrug off his commitment to Tamis, even though you would understand if he did. The privileged are pretty standard fare as far as sorcerers go, but mixing in powder mages and Nacht results in a fascinating clash of powers. The Nacht are people who have unique and often strange abilities, such as never having to sleep or having a perfect memory. Their powers contribute to character development and plot progression more than anything else in this book, but the randomness of their abilities lays the groundwork for some exciting opportunities. The powder mages are the ones you really want to read about. They can manipulate gunpowder and metabolize it to use for various powers, and the strongest can change a bullet's trajectory. Mixing guns and magic is super fun, and McClellan has crafted a believable set of rules by which the powder mages can thrive. The best parts of this book involve a powder mage using his or her powers. World building. It's important. The swearing is PG-13 with one or two in-world curses thrown in. The adult content is also PG-13, popping up in conversations, non-explicit memories, or implications via men and women's interactions. While I do appreciate its minimal presence, the stuff that is here doesn't contribute to the story, and it feels like the author added it because he thought the book wasn't mature enough according to modern standards, or because he was receiving pressure from his publisher. For example, the privileged are more attractive to the opposite gender due to their magical abilities, but it serves no purpose in the story except as an excuse to have a character be surrounded by multiple women. It's been a while since I've read a book by an author I'm unfamiliar with and been this excited. I really hope this wasn't a fluke. Promise of Blood's twisting plots keep you on the edge of your seat, and its characters are ones you can root for, especially when they're in their darkest moments. If you enjoy historically influenced fantasy that mixes guns and magic, Promise of Blood has you covered.